Texas takes down Vandy in Austin. I pat myself on the back for this one. I picked Texas. I didn't have a lot of good reasoning for it, but the Longhorns find a way. There, Arch Manning is finally starting to do some things we thought he was going to do before the season started. He comes off of a concussion. All he does, Bear, is on the very first play of the game, one of your favorite players in the SEC, Ryan Wingo, the connection there for a 75-yard touchdown. That got the scoring going. And, Bear, that got a really fun ball game going. Diego Pavia threw for 365 and 3 touchdowns. He was the leading rusher for Vandy, 14 for 43 and a touchdown. Arch Manning, like I mentioned earlier, 25 for 33, 3 touchdowns for him. Texas runs for right at 100 yards as a football team. And again, Bear, they outlast Vanderbilt, getting the 34-31 win. And I think now we got to have a conversation, dude. We got to have a conversation. Like, you still got to go to Athens. You still got to play A&M. How realistic are Texas's college football playoff chances at this point?
They're alive. They're very much alive. I mean, like, let's just start there. And I said this on the live stream yesterday. It felt like midway through the third quarter, there was a sack against Arch Manning. And, like, you ever see the movie Toy Story 3 where Buzz gets hit in factory reset mode? We went back to preseason accolade Arch Manning mode. Like, that's what we saw. Like, everything that we envisioned about him, everything that we had heard of him, this is how he's going to look in the offense, this is how comfortable, it's lived up to the expectation. The last 6.5 quarters, he has been the second best quarterback in the SEC. I do not think of that as a hot take. Just the last 6 quarters, the hottest quarterback in the SEC. He's been decisive. He's playing with tempo. He is getting the ball out in a timely manner. He's understanding his surroundings. And do you want to know why he's doing that? Because he is a good quarterback, and I think that ultimately it was always in him. Steve Sarkeesian switched up the play calling. Like, the dude who was like, oh, I'm so dominant in my play calling, and I know that, like, I can get my bag, and this is why you hired me. Yeah, he went from a 12 personnel to an 11 personnel look. And what's been happening? Everyone is eating. Everyone is making plays. Everyone is getting out in space. The offensive line looks a lot better. They're able to run the football more efficiently. They've seen a secondary opportunity to make Arch Manning, a quarterback that never deserved to have all those preseason accolades and hype, meet the standard. And he had a good game, I think, against Sam Houston State. I thought he was fine against Mississippi. I mean, he was fine against Florida, but there were still some turnovers. Mississippi State in the second half and the Vanderbilt game have been his 2 best games, and he has been on point. And the defense got after and set the tone very early on with that strip sack against Diego Pavia. They were able to capitalize and get points off it. They took away the running game completely, which was phenomenal. And you made Diego Pavia beats through the year. And they weren't able to go ahead and get those deep shots down the field. Everything that you need to see, it was a 3.5 quarter performance of this version of Texas is so challenging to stop. And good luck bringing them down the rest of the way. If you would have told me that we saw this up in Columbus, it may have still ended up being a loss, but I guarantee it would have been a very, very, very close loss in terms of what the on-sheet paper said. This version of Texas showed up against Florida, they wouldn't have lost to the Swamp. They would have 1 loss right now. They were awesome for 3.5 quarters. But, and I hate to do this to the Texas fans, they all say, Cole, you hate on us. You think that we're a terrible fan. Just how dare you? You can't say in one breath that they were garbage touchdowns by Diego Pavia and company when you got, quote-unquote, garbage touchdowns against Mississippi State and were able to find a way to get all the way back and get the win. They were they were a missed field goal away and a muffed onside recovery from tying this thing up. You can't say that. You took your foot off the gas far too early. You played with your food a little bit too much, and you gave Diego Pavia and the Commodore's life. Oh, and by the way, the other thing that you also got to give yourself credit to, stop blaming the officials. Like, I will be the first to tell you that 2-point conversion was not a 2-point conversion. I don't know anybody who actually sees that and says, yep, 2-point conversion. But that first touchdown pass that you allowed to Eli Stowers, officials didn't cost that. That was bad coverage. The 67-yard blast downfield, that wasn't on, the officials. That was 100% on just bad coverage. The touchdown run by Diego Pavia, that wasn't on officials. That was on busted coverage. Like, you got to fix that stuff because you will lose to Georgia. You will lose Texas A&M if you play that guy.
Yeah, like you said, a dominant 3.5 quarters, Bear. I mean, again, Vandy was doing nothing. It was, 24-3 at one point when I was checking the game throughout the day. And
21 unanswered points in a row.
Yeah. Over 400 total yards for Diego Pavia. 408 total yards for Diego Pavia in a losing effort. I mean, I thought, Bear, again, you look at the comments Steve Sarkeesian had it. I mean, it goes very well to say Arch Manning goes 25 of 33. Trey Wisner rushes 18 times for 75 yards. He said it was the best block. It was the best they've blocked all season. I mean, it was the best protection Arch Manning's gotten all season. What do you know when you give Arch Manning time to throw? The kid does have some talent. He can make some things happen.
No, he was great.
That easy.
I will say, again, this is what it comes back to. Texas earned that win. I'm not going to take that away from them. Texas was the most dominant team for 3.5 quarters. They looked awesome. They were great. At the same time, you have to play close. You have to close. You have to. If you do not close in the SEC, teams will come back. Mississippi State didn't close the door. They took their foot off the gas, and you came back. Vanderbilt almost came back. That's what happened. So either you can do one of two things. You can say that we sucked in the final 8 minutes and played too close for comfort and gave Vanderbilt a chance to nearly pull off the upset, or Vanderbilt's a really good team and they were able to come on back. But you can't say that we were dominant 4 quarters and they gave up garbage touchdowns. You can't say that because it doesn't work that way. You can't have a cake and eat it too. One or the other happened. You either messed around far too long and Vanderbilt nearly got you fallen, or Vanderbilt's a good team and they were able to respond. Because it was a 3-point swing at the end of the day. Doesn't matter how you phrase it.
Bear, who has a better chance to make the college football playoff right now, Texas or Vandy?
Vandy. I'm sorry. Vandy 100% has a better shot because if Vandy plays Tennessee, Kentucky, and they face off against Auburn. I look at Vandy in all 3 of those games. They 100% have a better shot to win every single one. Who do I think would get in at a 10-2 record? Texas.
Right.
Far and away, Texas would. Head-to-head win. They would get in.
Yeah, the head-to-head win, no doubt, would give them the edge over the Vanderbilt Commodores. And again, I think looking at it again, Bear, you and I both going into the weekend, going into the game, why was Texas favored? I do think what you saw their front 7 do to Vanderbilt throughout the day, for the most part of the day, that was a big reason why. That they were able to live in Diego Pavia's back pocket. And again, give him tons of credit. What was it? 6 sacks, I think they had on Diego Pavia. 6
Going into
sacks
that game, he had been sacked 8 times the entire year, and they hadn't given up more than 2 sacks in a game. He got sacked 6 times.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think the big takeaway for Texas, and I agree with you, like, you got to put teams away, and I think some of that you give Vandy a lot of credit. That's just a Clark Lee group that's going to fight scratch claw to the very end. It's got to excite you, though. If you can get that level of Arch Manning, if you can get that level or just even close to it, making a run's not impossible. It's crazy. I still think probably Bear Texas is a 9-3 team, maybe even 8-4. I don't think they are a college football playoff team. I don't. But like you said, the hopes are alive. That's all you can ask for.
I will tell you right now what ultimately decided this game, on top of just having a great game plan from Steve Sarkeesian and company. There's a reason that we look at the stars. There's a reason why we look at the numbers and we say roster construction does play a factor. You can't overcome talent differential. The talent differential on what you saw from a team like Texas versus Vanderbilt, just blind resume, looking at all the 5 stars. Texas should have won that game by 3 scores. It showed up on a day it had to show up in their first game back home. Showed on up. That's difference. It is. And that's why Texas, I still would believe, have a shot very much to go beat Georgia, beat Texas A&M, and be 10-2 and go to the college football playoff. And keep this in mind, Chris, if they are 10-2, Cole, do you hate us, Texas? No, I don't hate you, Texas. I live in Texas. I'm married to a Longhorn. Like, no, not at all. I hate her, but I don't hate you guys. Texas at 7-1 would actually go to the SEC championship. Remind yourself of that. 1 conference loss, head-to-head win over Texas A&M. They would go. The best is still ahead for Texas. It very much is.
That would be peak Aggie curse, Bear, if that were to happen.
Oh, they'd be undefeated. They lose that one game and they're 7-1 head-to-head, and Texas goes on.
Long way to go before that. But again, you set yourself up with an opportunity to do it because Texas gets a top 10 win for Vandy. Vandy now backed into a corner. Here comes the Auburn Tigers to Nashville, and the path is still there, but it narrows up just a bit. There's no more room for error while Texas stays alive in that conversation, in that race. And again, most of all, gets a big win over a really good Vandy team in Austin.